So, cool. On this demo, I will try to do the following things here, that we try to configure the internal load balancer using the AJ procs on the primary side. Then you try to configure a Patroni standby cluster on the secondary side. Then configure the pitch bouncer on the second side. Then you force a switch over to a replica on the primary side, and you watch the logs on the secondary side to see how this will affect the secondary node or not. We'll do the same, switching to a replica on the second side. And after that, we'll promote the second side to be the primary. So what I have here is a primary node and a secondary node here already running. On the primary, we have one application node that also is running a Patroni service as well. We have more 3 Patroni instances here and one pitch bouncer instance. On the primary node, everything is running and set up. As you can see here that. So, I have the 3 replicas and the leader. And if you go to the pitch bouncer, you can see that password here. You can see here that the primary node is connecting through the Postgres and the pitch bouncer instance. So let's start. First thing is to configure the internal load balancer. The idea of the load balancer here is that if for some reason the Patroni elect a new leader on the primary, the secondary node we don't need to change nothing on the secondary node. We're pointing to the AJ procs address instead of pointing directly to the Postgres address. We are following our documentation. Here is this step. This instructions ready to copy and paste for my instance. So first we need to install Patroni on the primary. I'll install it on the application server. Doesn't matter which one I choose. I can also spin up a new node if I want. Okay, I just need to edit the file. The JPEG configuration file here. I will paste the settings that suggests in our documentation. This is the IP address of the current leader, and this is the IP address of the 3 other replicas. After that, just need to restart the AJ proc service. And to make sure that everything's working, you can check the logs. It's not very intuitive, the AJ proc logs, but we can see here that we have 1 instance active and 0 backup servers left. I don't know why, but we know that we have 3 other replicas, but always shows 0 here. But it works, we'll see. So the next step here is to configure our Patroni standby cluster on the secondary node. This node is not running Patroni yet, not in neither the pitch bouncer. So we are following our instructions here to configure the Patroni on standby cluster. But we have a small difference here because I'm using the Ansible project to spin up this Geo deployment, and we have something different there from our documentation, but almost the same. So first, we're going on our leader. That isn't going to not have a leader, but this is the host that is Postgres is replicating from the primary. So we just the GitLab RB file. Here we need to change. Okay. The AJ proxy is running on port 5000. It's running on this IP address. So on the second node, what we need to do is to change the part of the, oops, sorry, 5000 here. And the address of the node that is running the AJ prox, and this is the AJ prox part that's running on 5000. We just need to enable. After that, we need to run the reconfigure. This is expected to fail. It's not a bug. It's already fixed on Omnibus, but the way that we set up the Patroni cluster, the Patroni role is on the Ansible is different than the later version on the Omnibus package. So sometimes the Postgres service does not restart properly and it restart manually. Let's see. This failed on waiting for Postgres to restart. To stop the Postgres server here. And configure again. It's already been fixed on a bus if you use the Patroni role instead of the Postgres roles and the console role that we are using here. Individual roles. Okay. Everything is working. And so now that we have a standby leader running on this machine, and it's pointing to the AJ prox address on the primary side. Okay, let's see if it's still working. This is the primary. And here is the secondary side. Okay, both works. Okay, on the replicas, just need to remove the Postgres directory, update the roles that we can skip this step. And you need to do the same changes on the GitLab file. That should point to AJ prox part. That is 5000. Yeah. And money. Yeah. Let's do the same here. The last replica. Change the part. And to wait a few seconds here. And then we can check the Patroni members on the second site again. Let's check what I have now. So what I have now is I have 3 replicas and 1 standby leader. All of them using the AJ box to connect to the Postgres AJ cluster on the primary. Yeah, just now we are going to set up the PG bouncer on the second node, so we can ensure when we have failover or switch over on the Patroni AJ cluster, a new leader get elected, we still point to the PG bouncer address instead of point to the leader. So you don't need to change it in configuration in any node. So that grab password here. Start PG bouncer service here. Sorry here. Then grab the IP of the second PG bouncer here. The internal IP here is this one. So on the primary, just need to point the database host to be the PG bouncer node. So here we just need to file. Add this here. Okay. If you try to access the second site now, I think that will return 502 because some service is getting up after you configure. Let's just wait it to finish. And here, I think that you can also see that we're getting the connection from the leader on the browser. Services. Okay. IP address, right? Also, I put the wrong IP address here. It's this one. So let's try to connect to another machine. Check the log here. See here now that the connection is going through the pitch bouncer node on the second side. So, just wait 1 more minute here to stick more than I expected. Okay, took a while, but it's working. So now we have a Geo site on primary running a Postgres AJ cluster, and we have a AJ proxy behind it, in front of it. And the second site is have also a standby Patroni cluster that is replicating through the AJ proxy. Just to ensure that everything is working, let's create a project on the primer. Is it an empty repository? And let's check it. Got replicated. Cool. Yeah, so it's working. If you go here, see the we have other repository assigned to the second site. So next step here is to switch over to a replica on the primer site. So to see this happening on the second, how the AJ procs are working here, we can view the logs on all Patroni instance here. Okay, the Patroni log here. And on the primer, I just need to tell the Patroni to switch over to another replica. As you can see here, this is the leader, and we're going to switch over to yeah. We're going to switch over to the first Patroni replica here, the Patroni-1. On the log here, you can see that the connection have been cut to the primer. on all of them. And they switched to a new timeline and got the application. As you can see here, all of them is still working. On the second side, the only difference that you can see here is that they increase in the timeline number here. Before it was 2. Let's see, that will be able to do this here. And on the primer, if you list the pattern members again, you see that the previous leader is a replica now, and the new one is the leader. And let's see if it's still working. Yeah, the primer is working. The second is working as well. Let's see if the application is working. Let's create an issue here. And the database application is still working after the switch over in a primer. Let's do the same on the second node. This is more quickly. Same here. We are changing switch over from this leader to the first Patroni replica. So here, oops, something went wrong here. I think that would happen here because the PG bouncer checked for wait for I think that's 5 milliseconds to see which node is health. Maybe we went faster here. I don't know, but let's see, it's working. Create a new issue. Let's close this one. Let's have been closed on the second as well. Yeah, so it's still working. So now we are going to follow our documentation here to promote the secondary site to a primary. First thing that we're going to do here is go to our primary site, stop all GitLab services to simulate, I don't know, that's something went wrong here. We are going to do this on all nodes. I can see here that the JPEG is telling us that there's no Postgres server running. So let's see if we can reach the primary. No, the expected, since we stopped the GitLab there. And so let's follow our documentation to promote the second site. Okay, stop this. Okay. So the first step to go to the leader in this. Oh, I'm not sure that you need to go direct to the leader. I think that you can run this on any node. Let's see if you can run this here. Okay. Then we just need to go through all nodes. On the ones that have the dual secondary role, we need to remove it. And the nodes that have the Patroni standby cluster enabled, we just need to disable the standby cluster and keep the Patroni running. I need to do here is to disable the standby cluster. And remove the geosecond row. We're going to do the same node here. We don't have the geosecond row here, so we just need to disable the standby cluster. And we're going to do the same here. The last. After that, let's do the next steps here. Okay, need to run a configure and each node. Done. And then almost done. Check now. Select control Windows. You see now that we have a standard Patroni cluster here. Now don't have the standby cluster anymore, enabled anymore. So let's do the next step here. Is to run this hake task. Set the secondary node as a primary. We have some caches that take some time to expire. So to make things faster here, let's first GitLab CTR. So if you go to our second website here, expect to see 502 because service is starting up. Hold on. You can see here that during the promotion, the current leader on the Patroni cluster changed from the Patroni 1 to Patroni 3. But since we are using the page bouncer, we don't need to change anything here. Things will work. Let's mark that. Watch the logs here. It's loading. So let's go to the admin area. Geo nodes page. You can see that the current node is marked as a primary. And let's see if you can create a new project here. Yeah, it's working. So that's it that I want to demo today. If you have any questions or suggestions.
So I guess you're only using HA proxy in this just to make it so the standby cluster doesn't need to be aware of who the primary is. Like you weren't using it for anything else, or did I misread that?
No, I'm just using to the second site knows which is the primary Patroni leader is, instead of knowing the IP of the leader, you're just pointing to the AJParks IP address. Just for that,
Okay.
we are using there. Yeah.
And so I guess the standby cluster, all the replicas talk to like sync from the standby leader, and then it's just the standby leader who syncs to the primary. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, I guess you can't do replication through PG Bouncer, can you?
No, we can't. We can't do that.
Okay, so yeah, that's why we need that. All right.
That's why we need the AJ proxy here.
Cool, that makes sense then. I think, yeah, that was a cool demo. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
That was really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it takes some time doing everything manually, but just to make sure that everything is working.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.